My name is Jonai Batista. I am from a city called Teresina, which is the capital of the state called Piauí, in the northeast of Brazil. The theme of the recital, the name of the recital is The Hero's Journey. The Hero's Journey. The idea came when I was reading the seven plots, the basic seven plots during the quarantine last summer, and I was going through a really hard time in my life. So I was reading a book about the seven plots, about I like philosophy, learning about mythology. I watched a documentary about mythology, and I I learned about the archetype of the hero. So then I thought, why not to reconcile with the phases of the hero? So that's when I decided to find pieces that would fit exactly with those main parts of the hero. Yeah, which also was telling the story of my life, but not in a direct way. So it was in a direct way to tell a little bit of my own life, my own struggles, but at the same time telling everybody else's stories. And focus on things that happens in everybody's lives. Those whether it's a woman, man, whoever, persons, people, individuals. They each person goes through a different journey and they go through different experiences. But there is a pattern. There's a pattern that happens, and that's why it's an archetype. Archetype shows uh, patterns, recurrent patterns, not just literature, but also in people's lives. This was one of the biggest challenge for me. We in the graduate program, we as a master student, we have only uh, 6 rehearsals to put the entire concert together. 6 rehearsals, and now we had 6 rehearsals with reduced time. So instead of having 1 hour and 20 minutes, we need to break in 30 minutes. 30 minutes, clean the room, and then more 30 minutes. On top of that, because of COVID, we have to wear masks. And those masks, sometimes it's hard to communicate. Even the text, I'm giving the cut of the text with my hands instead of cutting everything here. The way you look, the way you pronounce, all the communication, a lot of communication gets lost. So management of time was the biggest challenge. How can I teach this repertoire um, in such a short period of time, really short period of time? So I had to plan everything. First, they had to learn the notes. They had to learn the phrases. They have to, shape the music and get the style, the sonority, the tone, and finally to put uh, artistic art, make art. The common face that I chose was the call. First, a hero, a person, in my case, has a call. And then the second is, I'll explain later, but I'll just tell first is a call, the second is a spiritual end, then the departure, then the battles, then there's the spiritual battle, death, resurrection, returning home, and the resolution, a new understanding of life. So, in the case of the call, why that that I always that's always about I think about my own life, and I'm not the only person who who resonates with that calling. When I was younger, um, in my hometown, I always had this desire of going out and study and learn music, and I had this deepest desire to study music instead of being in the streets of Teresina, selling things to help my mom. My dream was to go study music, and that took a while. At once, I was studying high school, learning in a marching band, and then going to a school of music. Um, when I stopped selling stuff in the streets, because fortunately uh, some people helped us, so I didn't need to go there. I went to the school of music. But then I was always working, studying, and studying music. And later on, I was in the army. I was again working and then studying to get to the University of Brazil and study music. Talking about the call, when I hear the call, when I think about the call, I think about that young person that is it's or myself when I was young. I had that deepest desire to go out and study music. That was my desire, with all the difficulties, all the struggles, um, but you desire that there's that thing calling you, pulling you, and you see it's your dream, and it's almost like something that you can never achieve. but you go for it, you fight for it, you go, you try, you do everything possible, and you leave your town. That's what I did. I traveled for the first time out of my state. I went to um, Campina Grande to study music. So that was the first time that I left. And I was like, as I say in my notes of my programs, I was that naive, like a demigod, demigod. I was like a demigod of invincible. You know, I thought I was able to do everything, and that was just my that was actually just my first battles. I was just with my very first battles. I had much more battles ahead of me. So that's the second part of the journey. You know, in the hero's journey, you receive the call, you accept that call, and you start your journey. You leave your hometown, and you start facing the first battles, and you think you are invincible, and you keep going, you keep moving, and then you end up coming to the United States, and wow, here I am fulfilling my dream. Instead of having to work, study, and work again and study again, to study music, I'm only studying music. So after the battles and after the spiritual battle, the psychological battle, comes the death. Um, and in so many stories, the hero goes to the underworld, or the hero even dies. Like Christ is an archetype, or some people consider him the greatest archetype. So he dies and he resurrects. So it's the moment when one thinks that there is no solution at all, you know. And to me, was the moment when I thought that asking for help was worse. To me, just being silent, just disappearing. That's when I actually was helpless and hopeless. But then comes the resurrection. It's the moment when something, a light appears somehow, and you can find a way out of that. You can find a way out of this darkness, the deepest darkness. And heroes, they can get out of that rut. They can resurrect, and a lot of people can, and they do get out of those darkest moments. And I feel now that I've been out of that. I'm very thankful for it. After the resurrection, there's a return home. So the return home represents not just going back to your house, going back to your country, but represents, after the resurrection, represents you returning to the lost inner self. Where is that? That's in my case. Where is that hopeful boy that loved music, that was happy and singing? I lost that person, but that person was always inside of me. So I'm returning home. So, okay, we did this. The idea is there. It's like a seed that I put on the ground. It's not perfect, as I said, it's not the final product, but the idea is that the message in this case to me is more important. The message and the process in this case, it's more important than that finalized product. It's not a product, it's an idea, it's something that goes beyond a product. Product sounds too cheap to me. I don't even like that word, a product. I hate that word. It's an idea, it has to go beyond material stuff. Yeah.